Where's the bloody lights gone? Good evening, and it doesn't look like anyone's here, which is great. Wonderful. The comments are over there now, are they? Good evening, Christine. Bonsoir, and I hope everything's going well over there in France. It's all very cold, but still dry over here, which is good. Could have been raining, but no. Doing that a lot lately, but no, dry day today. Hoping for a dry day tomorrow as well. Good evening, Hugh, and hello everyone, if anyone's here. I don't know, are they? Are you wearing sunglasses there? Fantastic. Rupert, good evening, good to see you. I hope everyone's been having a fantastic time over Christmas and the New Year. I've had a very quiet one myself, very quiet both in actual fact. Hey, so right, it's very strange the way they've redesigned Facebook so that I've now got the comments. Everything's crammed up. Chris, good heavens, mate. Good evening. Great to see you. I haven't spoken to you in a very, very long time. Or seen you. Wonderful. Glad you could make it, and I hope tonight proves to be even remotely entertaining. Evelyn, or Evelyn, is watching. Is that a statement of intent while you're doing something else, or is that just a kind of way of saying that you are watching? I don't know. We have better weather in Britain than in France. It's amazing. Good Lord. What is that about? I'm sure the government would say that it's because Brexit, but I'm afraid I don't agree with that. I think it's highly unlikely to be anything to do with Brexit at all. So, usual rules apply. If I'm mumbling and not speaking up sufficiently, somebody shout and tell me, and I'll try and keep an eye on the comments. If I could only get rid of some of this stuff here, some of this gubbins that I don't want. Like, do I want to start a poll? No, I don't want to create a poll. Do I want to get rid of the box that suggests that I should start a poll? Yes, I do. Good evening, Evelyn. You are watching, right? Tremendous. I can't get rid of the thing that says create a poll. I don't want to create a poll. Why would I want to create a poll? Does anybody want a poll? You know, of the voting kind, obviously, not the greasy kind, or the dancing kind, or the one that you wouldn't touch things with if you had a barge involved. No? Okay. No, Facebook, take this thing away. Create a poll. No, thank you. Remove module. Yes. Right. Edit stream. Remove module. Alerts. Won't go away. It keeps putting stuff up. Right, okay. And indeed, Christine, Happy New Year to everybody. Right, I'll get started, I think. This one is largely written out in advance. So, in the words of Blue Peter, this is one I prepared earlier. And I did that because I talked off the cuff last time around, and I don't think I did it very well. Lots of ums, lots of ers, lots of hesitations, and lots of lost places. So, I'll carry on with this one from reading out from this piece of text that I have in front of me here. But first, a couple of the usual things that we do. Tonight's drink, the drinking vessel for this evening is a Hoegaarden bucket. For those not aware of it, Hoegaarden is a rather nice wheat beer produced in Belgium, or is it the Netherlands? I think it's Belgium. And it has these distinctive bucket-shaped, quite heavy glasses, which it's served over the bar from the cask, which is much nicer than from the bottle, even though the bottle's pretty good. And it's full of exciting black currant cordial. No Diet Coke this year. I mean, trying not to be so racy as I have been in the past. Bit of ordinary black currant cordial with no added sugar, I hasten to add. Right, quick sip. Oh yes, in case Andy turns up at some point. Is he there? Can I see next week? No. Who's got subtitles? Oh right, okay. Someone's getting subtitles. Perhaps that means that I'm not speaking clearly enough. But if you're getting subtitles, that's good. For Andy, if he's here, if he turns up, just one moment. Tonight's Batman item is a Batman face mask. How absolutely incredibly fashionable. It's 18 by 10 centimetres and has 2 layers of cotton jersey. In other words, it's more or less completely useless and is about the right size for a child. Although I have tried one of these, and you can actually get it over an adult nose and chin and keep it in place, but it's pretty skimpy. However, here it is, a Batman face mask in reverse of what it should be. It should be black on a yellow background, but for some reason DC Comics, and I think it's actually a licensed DC item, went the other way around with it. Okay, bat item, drinking utensil. Let's go. Hello, Nancy. You've got subtitles as well. It's nothing to do with me. Pete, you're there. Right, okay. I don't have a Trappist in this Belgian glass. It isn't Trappist beer. It's a much more commercial sort of thing. If you drink too much of it, it does terrible things to your poo. I'm sure nobody wanted to know that, but it does. For some reason I know about that. I'm not quite sure how. I'm fascinated by this subtitles business. Yet one size fits everything, Pete. In this case, blackcurrant, Diet Coke, brandy probably. Subtitles. Wow. I assure you I haven't done anything at this end to give people subtitles, and Christine is a foreigner and she doesn't have any subtitles. Wonderful. Facebook, we love you. Anyway, that's Wild Away. 8 minutes. Good Lord, crikey. So let's get started. Right, last time I was here, I was talking about Stephen Sondheim, the eminent author of Broadway musicals, who passed away sadly last November. Since then, I've found myself listening to recordings of musicals quite compulsively, and like pretty much several every day. I've just carried on examining the genre that I've been aware of all my life and having a look at it. So I'm going to talk about it a bit in general and look at some specific examples, and in some cases how they're actually connected up with me during the course of my life. But first, a bit of definition. What exactly is a musical? What do you understand by the term musical? I mean, the genre's name it's an abbreviation of musical comedy, which suggests to me that a musical is going to be a light-hearted entertainment with music and a happy ending. And furthermore, I would say that it's the amount and the role of the music which differentiates it from a comedic play. For example, many Shakespeare comedies have songs included, but you wouldn't think of them as being musicals. In practice, a musical is in fact a drama built around a series of songs. And this means that in most cases it's the product of 2 or more creators, one writing the music, the composer, one writing the song lyrics, the lyricist, and one producing the story, which is generally referred to in theatre terms as the book. So that's the author of the book. I mean, in practice, not all musicals are light entertainment. For example, the very popular and successful West Side Story is based on Romeo and Juliet, which is one of Shakespeare's tragedies. So West Side Story has few comic elements, there are a few in there, but not many, and it has a hopeful, but not a happy ending. It does, however, have lashings and lashings of a subject matter which isn't included really in the definition musical, but it's become very much a part of the genre. Romance. Right, having said all that, I'm going to have another little sip, have a brief look at the comments before we get round to having shut everybody up here. Everyone's saying Happy New Year. Hooray! Fantastic. Happy New Year, Tran. Good to see you, mate. I hope everything's okay with you. Do you have subtitles? This is the question of the night. Indra, hi there. Do you have subtitles? So everyone's saying Happy New Year, and I'm going to play a piece of music. In a minute, I'm going to play a piece of music, because having said all that about defining what a musical is, I'm actually going to start off with something that isn't really, I think, a musical. It's a classic film which has many of the elements of the musical. That is, an overall tone which is mostly light and entertaining, lots of songs, a happy ending, and it's even been adapted into various kinds of stage musicals, but which I think is something a little bit different from a musical. And here is, hastily queuing up here, a bit of music to introduce it. If I can find it right. Okay. And there you go. Yes, folks, what I'm starting with this week is The Wizard of Oz. And immediately note, why do I not think it's a musical? Well, what I've just played is a single verse repeated 3 times. And this is kind of typical of most of the songs, apart from the big famous one in The Wizard of Oz. They're fragmentary. They're not really any kind of developed song at all. They're just musical fragments that are repeated. So, not a musical, but a film with a lot of music and some of the content and idea of the music. And we're off to see The Wizard, the wonderful Wizard of Oz. I picked this classic film, made in 1939, re-released frequently since then. I picked it for a number of reasons, and one big one is that it was one of the very first films I ever saw in a cinema, somewhere between the ages of 5 and 7. It may even have been the first film I saw, although I think that was George Powell's 1958 film Tom Thumb, highly recommended, a stormer of an Anglo-American movie with a couple of Americans in the starring roles and a fantastic backup cast of English actors, including Peter Sellers in his first job for an American film company. I'm not trying to plug for the DVD or anything, it's just that it was either the first or second film I ever saw, and it had a big impact on me, and I strongly recommend it. It looks like a simple childlike movie, but it's a little bit more than that. It's a terrific bit of animation as well. But either that was first or The Wizard of Oz was first, I'm not sure. But both films were major formative experiences for me. However, there's another reason for choosing The Wizard of Oz, and that is that it features one aspect of the idea lurking behind tonight's stream, the question of how do you define and differentiate between good and bad? Indeed, who does the defining and differentiating, and why? The Wizard of Oz is pretty clear about such things in the film. Good is exemplified by the good fairy Glinda, who is dressed in white, is glamorous, and is always smiling, while bad is represented by the Wicked Witch of the West, dressed in black, ugly, with discoloured skin, always angry. Each character is a collection of basic Western cultural signifiers which barely need explaining in words to the film's viewers. You know, white and pretty is good, black and ugly is bad, things like that. But they're signifiers that are based on appearances. And really, can you judge a book by its cover? I'll leave that there for a little bit, and I'll play another song from The Wizard of Oz before getting on to actual musicals. So let me just whiffle around in the folder full of music files here, see if I can get this one. Right, okay. Terrible start. Got it right that time. And wrong that time. Key change. Oh, that's going to be fun. Gosh, that key change was a little bit The old classic step up a semitone when you've got nowhere else to go. You're just repeating, so you just step the key up a semitone and take it somewhere that is probably less comfortable than the first key was. And that was one of those. But anyway, if I only had a brain, and believe me, if I only had a brain, I'd be twice as dangerous as I possibly am. The Wizard of Oz. Right, another little sip of liquid. Another little look at the comments section, because I don't know if anyone's saying anything here at all. They used to have it over on the left where there was lots of space for it. Now there's a big blank empty space over there, which is absolutely no good at all. So, whoa, lots of people have been writing things. Manichaeism, thank you, Christine, a good word, which I should probably have got in. And Facebook undoubtedly does want you to work hard. You can look at it later on. It'll be still here on the page, and it will be going up on YouTube afterwards. So you can slow it down, and I'll be speaking slowly and clearly instead of babbling, as is my tendency. So, was the whole score written by one team of writers or various contributors? It was Harold Arlen and Yip Harburg, I think. I'm not sure. Yeah, Chris, you're right. I'm not sure about Over the Rainbow. Pretty sure the rest of it was Yip Harburg and Harold Arlen. So one team. As was Born Free from that film, Bright Eyes from Watership Down. A common theme. Yes, absolutely. Oh, thank you, people making clapping sounds. This is a terrible, terrible place to have the comments section. Let's see if I can actually move it over here. Reset layout. Will that do anything? No, it doesn't appear to do anything at all. Right, okay, carry on. Get out of the way. Go away, Facebook. You're covering everything up. That beats it. Yep, absolutely right. Okay, move on. You've been here since the start. There's subtitles on YouTube. Are there subtitles? Oh, right, okay. YouTube's good, so yeah, there you go. Save it for the YouTube. Sit here, enjoy whatever you're enjoying, Christine, and I will just carry on, and you'll be able to get hold of it later on. Right, jolly good. So back to my text there for a moment. Okay. So earlier on, I put forward the idea that I suggested, or at least implied, the idea that there is a distinction between high art, which is regarded as in some way aesthetically worthwhile and respectable, and popular art, that which may be successful and entertaining, but is a collaborative effort and is thus in some way not a pure and elevated expression of artistic feeling. What I actually typed was artistic, but there you go. There's a strange comment going on here in the background. Oh, right, okay. Nancy, what's my opinion on the synchronization of Dark Side of the Moon? Yeah, to be honest, Nancy, my feeling on the synchronization of The Wizard of Oz with Dark Side of the Moon is that if you consume enough recreational drugs, anything connects up with anything else. Sherlock Holmes movie, while listening to the album Gorilla by the Bonzo Dog Doodah Band, and it fitted like a glove. Absolutely fantastic. So ever since that experience, and one or two others, I've been a little bit suspicious about the Dark Side of the Moon Wizard of Oz thing. Anyway, I couldn't test it now anyway, because I no longer take that kind of recreational drug. And I'm not just saying that in case the Facebook police are watching. I don't. It's all down to health. Can't do it anymore. So, high art, popular art. Regardless of how you might feel about such distinctions, they express another view of good versus bad, and they do carry a lot of historical weight. I've read a few history of musicals, for example, which have strained themselves to link the origins of the musical with more respectable genres, the 19th century Viennese operettas by the likes of the various Strausses and Franz Lehár, the likes of the Merry Widow or Die Fledermaus, for example, or even the Savoy operas by Gilbert and Sullivan, which is odd because they are collaborative, amusing, entertaining, and have been very successful, yet still they're somehow recorded a respectable status. One early work I've seen cited numerous times as being possibly the first musical is The Beggar's Opera, a drama written, as Chris and Hugh will know, and possibly others, written in the 1720s by author John Gay, containing an unusually large amount of songs set by composer Johann Christoph Pepusch to arrangements of pop songs and tunes of the day. Whether it can be, it has that element of lots of songs and popular songs, and a great deal of success, in fact, at the time. But I'm not sure whether it can be fully regarded as a musical because it served various other purposes. It was essentially a satire aimed at multiple targets. One of the main targets was the British government of the time, led by Robert Walpole, which was a notably corrupt regime in which ministers concentrated on handing favours and preferment to friends and supporters and on lining their pockets. Couldn't possibly happen today, could it? No, absolutely not. Perish the thought. The story deals with a corrupt administrative system carried out by criminals, prostitutes and crooked officials. Another target of the Beggar's Opera was the Italian operas that were fashionable at the time, in which subjects from mythology and ancient history were treated with elaborate, refined music, written by composers such as George Frederick Handel. Gay and Pepusch lampooned all this with their low characters and subject matter and with street songs which everyone knew, many of them having passed on into the modern tradition of folk music. The Beggar's Opera, whether or not it is a precursor of the 20th century musical, I'm going to bring myself into the picture again here. It does come back to my own life and experiences. In 1977, I took part in a considerably revamped and modernised production of The Beggar's Opera. It wasn't my first experience of musical theatre, I'll come to that later, but it brought me thoroughly, after some dabbling, into the world of the professional stage, where I continued to work for the best part of a decade. And it also brought me to Liverpool, in which region I've lived more or less happily ever since. So it was a big thing. The Beggar's Opera was a big thing for me personally, whether it's the first musical or not. So, time for more music, and we'll have a whack at one of the hit tunes from the Beggar's Opera. Let's see how I go here. Just check my notes. Yes, right, okay. there, extemporising to a certain degree over a recording of the original piece, was Lillibulero. That's the name by which it's generally known these days. It may also be familiar to some of you as the former signature tune of the BBC Radio World Service, customarily played before news bulletins. It probably started off as a street tune. It was first arranged and published by the great 17th century English composer Henry Purcell under the unassuming title of A New Irish Tune. Right, time for another sip of the exciting black cordial from the very heavy Hoegaarden bucket. I wonder if I have any Hoegaarden somewhere. I haven't had any for about, blimey. I think 2019 was the last time I had any Hoegaarden. And that, oddly enough, was in Canada. The last place I expected to find Hoegaarden, but there it was in a beer shop which was called the Beer Shop and sold beer. Oh, is everything disappearing from the screen? What made Gay rich and rich gay? Exactly, Chris, yes. Rich being the producer. Wow, yes, of course it was in 1979, Hugh, that's right. And fair enough, Nancy, I wasn't implying that you do drugs by any stretch of the imagination. I know I have a history of that kind of thing, but so I'm not judgmental about it. If anybody does and has, and I'm sure some people have and possibly even do, but yeah, I'm sceptical about it. 10th of the ticket price. Yes, times have changed. Have things disappeared from screen? How are the subtitles keeping up with me? And I must see these things. I must try and find a way to see these things. Anyway, right, where was I? I was looking for my text again. So, good or bad? Let's make a sharp left turn here to the end of the 1960s, when the developments of electric pop and rock, ever since the early 1950s, caught up with a world of music light romantic comedies with songs set to orchestral or occasionally jazz band arrangements. Jazz and pop had in fact been drawing on musicals for hit song material for quite a few years. Many jazz standards originated as show tunes, for example, but there'd not really been any full-scale connection between electric pop music and musicals until a show named Hair became a big hit worldwide, starting in 1968 and carrying on. There have been many stagings of Hair, many recordings, and they're still going. It's still being revived to this day, although that's become the nature of the musical. For every new musical, there seem to be about half a dozen revivals these days. We're looking at the past, moving into the future. Anyway, skipping that for a moment, the authors of Hair, two actors and a short-haired suit-wearing composer named Galt MacDermot, ended up defining for many people the hippie experience of the late 60s, and the way in which that experience was made up from alternative cultures, different religious practices, drug taking, fashion choices, and very many more. Revolutionary politics, the wish to avoid the draft, great distaste, a growing distaste among young people at the idea of going to war. One thing was clear about Hair, though: it was not a satire. It was a sincere attempt to depict alternative ways of living, a different kind of society. And while many found this good, many others found it bad. For example, two of the Apollo astronauts, Jim Lovell and I think Jim Swigert, who had named their lunar module after one of the songs in the show, then later they attended a performance of Hair and walked out because they saw it as being disrespectful to America. So in their eyes, it was bad. Okay, back to the music. This one will go on a little bit longer, and here's a medley from Hair containing that song. Fifth Dimension, and here we go. That was the Fifth Dimension doing that badly, really. That went on a bit, but then that phrase, that phrase, which is "let the sun shine in, let the sun shine in," serves the purpose of a mantra, more or less. It's a simple, repeated melodic phrase which is intended to aid in meditation. For which reason I didn't go completely berserk and tried to maintain the phrase a bit, but I couldn't really hold it and did fiddle around on the edges of it to a certain degree, because that's what I like doing. Possibly destroys the point of it, but there you go. Right, we're moving along here. That was, of course, Aquarius, followed by Let the Sun Shine In, from the musical Hair. Time for another little sip after that. There we are. And another little glance at the comments. So people are applauding. Good Lord, honestly. And Jan's applauding as well. Heavens above. Yeah, everybody's singing along. That's the one. Let the sun shine in. That's it. Do you know what? It's a pretty decent score. If you listen to the there was a 50th, there was an expanded, massively expanded version that came out with lots of incidental bits of music that were never on the original soundtrack, and it's pretty decent. Actually, it's quite a powerful bit of work. Some of the songs miss the mark completely, but others are very strong. It's not the sort of mess that a lot of people, it's gained a reputation over the years for being somewhat of a messy, sloppy piece of work, but I don't think so. I'd actually love to see a production of it. Right. Anyway, whether it was good or whether it was bad, whatever you want to think about it, the doors of the musical comedy genre had been opened up to rock music, and many more shows which substituted electric band lineups for orchestras, including a show named Golden Oldie, which was my first encounter as a player with any kind of musical, and had some very brief but reasonably successful, I think, runs in Manchester, London and Edinburgh in 1975. Quite possibly both Hugh and Chris will actually remember Golden Oldie. I await with some trepidation your opinions of the show. We had good fun. We had great fun doing it. Good memories, good times. And then, of course, there was Cupid's Children. But I shall leave that to you guys to talk about in the comments. Cupid's Children was a musical staged at Contact Theatre in Manchester with people from the drama department, and according to the set designer, no band. That moment I will never forget. The moment when the band arrived and said, "Where are we going to set up?" And the set designer said, "What band?" And we then spent all of the performances. We couldn't see, we couldn't hear. This was before the days of rock monitors. It was the mid-70s. We couldn't hear, we couldn't see anything. To come in at the right place, we were completely reliant on people standing at the wings and going, "Right, go now!" Wonderful. Great experience, and great to look back on, but I think we were all fairly irritated by it all at the time. Anyway, New York on the musical scene on Broadway, the heart of the American musical, the heartland of the American musical, that is, the possibilities of the rock music format brought a new player into the musical scene. A man who, with reference to Stephen Sondheim, has called himself to other people the other SS. And if the music theatre was temporarily reeling from the shock of Hair, the young composer and lyricist Stephen Schwartz dealt it a further blow with Godspell, a light and humorous musical treatment of the Gospel according to St. Matthew, with the biblical characters portrayed more or less as young hippies arrayed against the establishment forces of Herod and the authorities. Having said that, Schwartz's cheerful book and tuneful score more or less won over most of the main ecclesiastical authorities, which to some made it good, even though many of the public found the mere notion of the Bible as a musical offensive and bad. Quick historical note here: yes, Jesus Christ Superstar had been recorded before Godspell, but at that stage it was a boxed record set. It hadn't made it to the stage. I think Godspell was the first show to bring a rock treatment of part of the Bible onto the stage. Jesus Christ Superstar came 2 or 3 years later, 72, 73. Obviously a huge, massive success. But so was Godspell. Godspell was an enormous success worldwide. There are endless recordings of it, productions in countries all over the world. And here, as if on cue, is another piece of music. Here's the big hit from Godspell. And with a bit of luck, this is another one to which you can all sing along a bit. Can't remember what the first note is. That'll be the first note. That's a really nice, effective little tune. That Day by Day from Godspell, and yep, Day by Day. The structure is A, etc. Yes, and that's A. That's the version written by someone from Birmingham, I suppose. Yeah, the structure is A, as it is with lots of songs in musicals. Netto. Oh, it's just a little mistake. Oh, thank you, Rupert. Yes, I see. Right, okay. Ah, there were lots of little mistakes in there, Rupert, trust me. Little mistakes, Neto mistakes, quick save mistakes, no thrills mistakes, um, Tesco value mistakes. But don't get me started on all these kind of things. Unfortunately, you already have. That was Day by Day from Godspell. And going back to me text for a little bit here. For 3 decades, Godspell was Stephen Schwartz's most famous, or, depending on your point of view, notorious show. But he went on, actually, to become one of the all-time most successful writers of musicals, scoring big hits with his next show, Pippin, which is well worth listening to. It's a lot more complex, both musically and in terms of story. I mean, it's a piece about self-discovery, cast in terms of the Merovingian kings of the late 9th century. Another very peculiar choice of subject matter for a musical, but it's oddly effective. It's a decent score, worth a go. And after that, he wrote The Magic Show, which was a vehicle for popular showbiz magician Doug Henning. Now, all 3 of these shows scored record-breaking long runs on Broadway, and none of them really were what might be thought of as the typical light-hearted, romantic, tuneful musical. Schwartz made a return in the late 70s to the Bible, for subject matter, with a show called Children of Eden, which was actually some various people from the Royal Shakespeare Company were involved, but it didn't do so well. Although, while researching this, I discovered that apparently it's turned out to be a big hit on the amateur dramatic circuit. Gets licensed out a heck of a lot. After that, Schwartz turned towards writing songs for films, notably for Disney's Pocahontas animation and for their live feature Geppetto. Now, in 2003, however, he returned to Broadway with a new smash hit, one which is still running almost 20 years later without a break, in the same theatre where it started in 2003. The only break was for several months because of the COVID pandemic. And this show is Wicked, which brings us back to 2 things. To the notion that what is good or what is bad depends very much upon your point of view, and, of course, to The Wizard of Oz. Wicked is based on a set of best-selling novels written in the 1990s by Gregory Maguire, taking the world of Oz from L. Frank Baum's original novels of the early 20th century, and from their most familiar version in that 1939 movie that I first saw as a very small boy. Maguire shifted the focus away from Dorothy Gale's quest to find the wizard and be sent home to Kansas, over to the life, education and formative years of the Good Fairy and the Wicked Witch. As his tale progresses, it becomes clear that the green-skinned, black-clad young witch is becoming a freedom fighter who sees it as her duty to struggle against the authoritarian rule of the wizard for the freedom of the peoples of Oz, while the pretty, white-clad blonde is a self-centered narcissist intent on social climbing and doing whatever is needed to further her career. Hard to imagine a blonde being like that, really, but there you go. Who is good and who is bad? At this point, the obvious thing for me to do would be to play a tune from Wicked. But okay, fess up here. The truth is, it's a difficult score, and I just don't feel I've learned it thoroughly enough to feel confident about attempting any of the numbers. Maybe later, maybe another time. I'll just keep on talking for a bit, as it is. And we're getting close to 9 o'clock anyway, so we're about getting close to wrapping up. Which is good, because I've got very little text left. Schwartz's musical, Wicked, simplifies Maguire's original book and makes some crucial changes. The young witch and the fairy, although opposites, are friends as well as rivals in the musical version, but he turns it into something of a satire on political power struggles in what is conventionally seen as beauty and goodness triumphs. and it is demonstrated that when it comes down to good and bad, you really should not judge a book by its cover, or perhaps dismiss a musical as trash because of its popularity. Okay, that's it. In the absence of a song from Wicked, I'll play things out with a jazz version of that most famous tune from The Wizard of Oz, which I've been avoiding so far. This is for those of you who might have been wondering whether there's a saxophone about. Yes, there is. And whipping out this wonderful nickel silver plated C melody saxophone lets me just get the music up. Let's see if I can make a fist of this. Right, let's go. I'm out of practice. Didn't expect that ending. I should learn to listen to these backing tracks before I actually play over them. But then again, I quite like the excitement of not knowing where they're going to go. Right, so there you go. That was Over the Rainbow, played on the mighty C Melody saxophone. Lovely piece of work. My big saxophone project lately is getting my head around this thing and making it sound good and getting to be at all fluent on it. So thoroughly enjoying the practice. And that was it. That was Over the Rainbow. And end of tonight's stream, really. If anybody's still with me, I do actually have. I could jam away a little bit here. Steve! Hi! Didn't see you there. Hope all's well, mate. Hope you're feeling good this week. Yep, lots of people. Yep, thank you. Yep. Thanks, Chris. Glad you enjoyed it. Right, okay, well, I've actually got 10 minutes until Facebook kicks me off because I timed it to overrun a little bit, as it always does, although I actually got the amount of speech and the amount of music just about right this time, so hooray for me. So following another little sip of blackcurrant cordial, let's hit up a remaining music track. I've already played this particular piece, but I found this version and I absolutely love it. I didn't know until I started researching the stream that the mighty James Last had actually made a Hair album, one of many recordings of Hair, and it's absolutely full. It's wonderful. It's like full-on mad brass sections and lots of phasing to make it sound kind of psychedelic, and bits of electric guitar clucking away in the background. Wonderful. So, since I played Let the Sunshine In comparatively straight before, let's see if I can mess around with it a bit. Here we go. Oh. Yeah, it needs to be a little bit louder. I'll just whack it up a bit. And they're fading out into the distance with a massive rumble of funky bass and wah-wah guitar and all kinds of things he didn't normally indulge in, is James Last. Wonderful. That's a great find, and I shall thoroughly enjoy that. Am I praying for the sunshine, Pete? No, I'm just making a noise on a saxophone. Buddy Greco's Let the Sunshine In. Wow. A ghastly example of an excellent artist thrown to the musical lions at the end of the 60s by a record company that wants to get to the kids, and there was so much of that. In fact, there's probably enough of that to make it a theme for a future stream. Oh, that Chet Baker record, the record that Chet Baker, trumpeter Chet Baker made a cover of a record covering various pop songs, and reportedly afterwards, like, sort of basically walked out of the studio, doubled over, threw up on the pavement, and said to the guy at Government Day, "Never, ever make me play anything like that ever again." Which is a pretty strong reaction. To him it was bad. Pop music, bad. You listen to the album, he made a very professional job of singing some songs, playing trumpet, did a wonderful job, but apparently absolutely hated and loathed every minute of it. Alright, parking this on its stand. And that's it. I'm sorry I've got to work out some way to be able to actually see the comments on here, because it's hopeless. Facebook just isn't. It's put them in this little tiny bit over on the right hand side of the screen, leaving a huge blank over on the left where they used to be. There may be some way of rearranging it. I'll try and work on that before next week. But for now, cheers guys. Thanks everybody who was here. Hope you all enjoyed it. I hope you're all feeling well. It's a strange time of year. I personally know so many people who've tested positive for COVID recently. Thank heavens it doesn't seem to be too serious in many cases, but it's remarkable. People who haven't been out, people who haven't partied, people who, it just seems to be all over the place. I'm keeping a very close watch on myself. It has to be said. I'm staying in. I'm going to the shops occasionally, going to the doctors for prescriptions, and that's about it really. So under these circumstances, I'm glad a load of you are here. I hope you're all feeling well, and I hope you all continue to feel well, and I'll do one of these again in a couple of weeks' time, or maybe a week, if I can think of enough things to say about jazz artists being forced to play pop music at the end of the 1960s, because, as Hugh said, we're trying to get in with the kids. Right, on that note, good, bad, indifferent. Make up your own minds. Thanks everybody. Good night. This will be going up on Facebook, and it'll be here on Facebook for 2 or 3 days, and it'll be going up on YouTube, so Christine can get the subtitles then. And everyone, take care. Night night. See you again soon.